There's a certain line, isn't there,
Hmm.
between, expressing real public frustration and then tipping over into outright, almost ritualistic humiliation of a leader.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Or maybe not so fine anymore.
Exactly. Lately, it feels like we, as Malaysians, have seen that line not just crossed, but maybe deliberately wiped out.
It's become quite stark.
I've followed our politics for years, seen so many rallies, big peaceful ones, smaller angrier ones.
Sure.
But when I heard about this recent event, an effigy of the Prime Minister reportedly being whipped in public,
Hmm.
that really stopped me in my tracks.
I can imagine. It's a powerful image.
It made me ask, is this, like, the new normal for protests here?
Yeah.
What does an act like that, so extreme, truly tell us about the national mood right now?
Yeah. What's the underlying sentiment?
You might think, okay, an act that visually striking means everyone's united, right? Singular anger, clear demand, solid front.
That would be the simple interpretation.
But what if?
Hmm.
What if that visible anger is just a mask, hiding something way more fragmented?
Different intentions.
Yeah, maybe even competing agendas, all sort of shouting under one banner. What if the noise isn't really about one goal at all?
That's often closer to the truth when you look closer, isn't it?
It seems so.
Because when you do look past the immediate spectacle, the reasons people give for actually being there, well, they often paint a much more nuanced picture.
More complicated than just anger.
Definitely. Take, there was this seasoned activist, Shi Zhirong, a former DIP member from Kapar.
Okay, I know the area, often a bit of a bellwether.
Exactly. And he publicly stated why he joined a big rally recently. His core message, interestingly, wasn't just radical noise.
What was it then?
He put it quite powerfully, almost patriotically. He said, it's not protesting for the sake of protesting. It's about hoping the Prime Minister listens to the public.
Wanting to be heard.
Right. And we stand out because we love this country too much, hoping for change. If Anwar does things right, I will definitely support him. So it wasn't calling for an overthrow, necessarily.
More like accountability.
Precisely. Accountability. He brought up very specific things. Grievances about the government, as he saw it, not acting on really crucial livelihood issues.
Like cost of living. That's always huge.
Yes, exactly. He mentioned things like the RM100 aid, for lower income groups.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the hoped-for cut in RO95 petrol prices, things people felt were critical.
But for him...
For him, it was too little, too late, or maybe only happening because of public pressure.
Reacting rather than acting.
Kind of. Or
Yep.
even unnecessary in their timing, like people shouldn't have to protest just to get basic support.
Makes sense.
His principle, he stressed, was focusing on not people or parties.
Right.
Leaders are elected, they need to deliver. That was his point.
Regardless of who they are.
Yes. He even pointed out, that the current unity government got a lot of non-Malay support,
True.
and he warned that if they don't genuinely address people's needs, well, public patience isn't infinite. It could backfire.
So there's a real concern there, a specific critique behind his presence.
Absolutely, a very specific one.
Which is why it's so jarring then when you contrast that with the other stuff, the big spectacle.
Oh, the effigy?
Exactly, that effigy incident. It just looms so large. Seeing a national leader depicted like that and then whipped, it feels less like symbolic protest and more like,
Public shaming?
yeah, like a public flogging. It's quite medieval, almost.
It's certainly provocative.
And it makes you ask, regardless of the complaints maybe about tax reform, living costs, whatever, is that level of public humiliation truly warranted?
Is it proportionate?
Right. Has the person actually done things that justify being treated, like a criminal in public?
Has there been proven mass corruption or direct harm caused by abuse of power? Those are high bars.
Very high bars. And this isn't just some minor detail, is it? An act like that, it's going to dominate the headlines.
Oh, absolutely. It's visual, it's controversial.
And it could massively influence those crucial middle voters, right? The undecideds.
Definitely. For them, that image could just be off-putting.
Repulsive, even. Or just make the whole protest seem outside the bounds of what's acceptable.
It risks overshadowing everything else.
Totally. It could just drown out any legitimate points that people like that activist from Kapar were trying to make.
It becomes the main takeaway, unfortunately. And, connecting that visible anger, that spectacle, to the broader picture,
Yeah.
especially the logistics behind these rallies, it raises even more questions.
Logistics. How so?
Well, there were observations reports that quite a few supporters were actually abused in.
Ah, organized transport.
Yes, specifically from northern states down to the capital for the rally.
Okay. That happens, I suppose.
It does. But what's really interesting are the sort of mixed messages that came out of it.
Mixed messages.
Reports suggested that while some were definitely there for the rally itself,
Their main purpose.
right, but others also had plans for afterwards, like sightseeing around KL or other activities.
Hmm. So the rally was just part of the day out.
It raises that question, doesn't it? Does that dilute the idea of a single unified purpose?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Are all these people really driven by this intense burning desire to overthrow Anwar?
Or is it more varied? Maybe less intense for some. The rally is just one stop.
Exactly. It suggests there might be layers of motivation or perhaps different levels of commitment within that crowd. It's not necessarily one solid block.
It complicates that image of a totally unified front, for sure.
Makes you think about the real grassroots depth.
That's a really sharp point about the logistics adding another layer. It really does complicate the picture. And then if you dig into the actual demands being made at the same event, you find even more, like, stark contradictions.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have some people, maybe like the activists we mentioned, talking about specific policy issues, or maybe even calling for a full overthrow.
Okay, that's one end of the spectrum.
But then you have other groups, like Jerican Youth, for instance. They were apparently, at the same time, proposing 4 specific opposition candidates they deemed highly qualified to replace Anwar.
Ah, so not just out with the old, but in with these specific new guys.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, right? Is this just about removing the current leader?
Or is it actually about replacing them with a very specific political alternative?
It starts to sound less like a general cry for change and more like, well, a strategic play for power.
Positioning certain people.
Exactly. A move to get their preferred candidates into the spotlight, maybe.
It certainly highlights that spectrum you mentioned.
Yeah, from people wanting faster reforms, lower taxes, better support, genuine bread and butter concerns.
To those whose actual goal seems to be a complete change of government, putting the opposition in charge.
Which means there isn't really a single clear mandate coming from that crowd, is there?
It seems incredibly muddled, maybe even contradictory.
Like different groups using the same platform, the same rally, but for very different end games.
Which really brings us to a key point, analytically speaking.
Okay.
Is a gathering like this truly built on a very clear common ideal, something everyone shares?
Oh.
Or is it mainly fueled by something more general, maybe more vague? A sense of dissatisfaction?
Just general unhappiness without a single solution in mind.
Sort of. When you look at the whole picture, the rally, even with its main theme, like overthrowing Anwar, seems to be interpreted very differently by the people actually there.
Right.
You can contrast this pretty sharply with, say, historical movements like the Bersih rallies.
Ah, Bersih. They felt different.
They did, didn't they? They were known for having very clear, unified goals, electoral reform, clean governance.
Everyone knew what Bersih stood for.
Exactly. Everyone seemed to be pushing in the same direction with a singular, widely understood objective.
Okay, I see the contrast.
By comparison, this specific rally, well, based on these observations, it just seems very mixed, maybe even chaotic underneath.
Even if they wear the same shirts or chant the same slogans.
Yeah, because what they truly demand isn't necessarily the same thing at all.
Suggests it's more fragmented than unified.
Very much so. The collective voice is loud, no doubt. It can feel overwhelming.
But the motivations, the ultimate goals, they're all over the place.
It's more like a cacophony of discontent, maybe, than a symphony with a shared purpose.
A cacophony of discontent. That's a powerful way to put it.
Yeah.
So after peeling back all these layers, the individual reasons, the shocking tactics, the bus trips, the clashing demands, what does this actually mean for you, listening to this, trying to figure out Malaysian politics?
It's complicated terrain.
It really highlights something crucial, I think. When you see these big public events, the surface story, the slogans, the visuals, often hides a much more complex reality.
Definitely not always monolithic.
Rarely is it just one single voice demanding one single thing. It's usually this intricate mix of different desires, frustrations, sometimes, like we discussed, even competing political aims, all sort of bundled together.
Under one broad banner.
Yeah. And maybe the real insight here isn't just about these specific protests, but about how dissent, how public expression works in our democracy today.
How it manifests now.
Does a really loud collective voice always mean a single shared purpose? Or can it just be A powerful noise made up of many separate, maybe even uncoordinated frustrations.
That's a fundamental question.
And for us, as citizens watching this unfold, how do we even begin to sort through it? How do you tell the genuine grievance apart from the calculated political move?
Discerning the message beneath the noise.
Exactly. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are we seeing a shift, maybe away from movements driven by clear, shared ideals?
Like Bersih.
Towards something more like a generalized, but still very powerful expression of just fragmented unhappiness?
A different kind of political energy.
Maybe. What stands out to you when you see these kinds of demonstrations happening here? What questions pop into your mind?